I'm Nick, and this is the Intel Core Ultra 7 270K+. It's Intel's attempt to claw back some of their market share, which has been absolutely decimated over the last few years, from dying CPUs to removing multi-threading and just overall having significantly worse performance. Intel has been in a downward spiral for a long time, but is that the case with the Arrow Lake refresh? Here it is, folks. Intel is doing Intel things again, and they're refreshing their current Arrow Lake lineup by officially calling it Plus. The Plus naming is a little bit of an Intel joke that's been going on for a few years, but I think maybe someone at Intel has finally been given a sense of humor. But given what I know about Intel, Intel doesn't like jokes. As for pricing, the Intel Core Ultra 7 270K Plus is going to be going for around about $299 when it launches. As for specs, the 270K Plus is an 8P core, 16E core, 24-threaded CPU with a P-core base clock of 3.7 GHz, and it should boost to around about 5.5 GHz at full tilt. The Intel Core Ultra 7 270K Plus base power is around about 120 watts, and it's got a max turbo power of around about 250 watts. For these tests, I used a 48 gig kit of Kingston Fury QDIMM memory at 8800 megatransfers on the MSI MAG Z890 Tomahawk Wi-Fi 2. All of the testing that we always do is on an open air test bench. If you're interested in knowing more, I've put links to all that stuff down below in the description. So, what's the performance look like? I ran a 1-hour Cinebench stress test to see what the power consumption was like with the 270K Plus, and over that hour, I saw it pulling around about 220 watts of power at full tilt, and only 16 watts of power at idle. Which leads us into Cinebench 2024 testing. In Cinebench 2024 multi-core, we saw the 270K Plus scoring 2,497 points, making it one of the quickest desktop CPUs that we've tested lately. And look, that makes it about 3.5% faster than the 285K. As for single core performance, the 270K Plus scores 142 points, which is around about 1% faster than the 285K. The next thing is knowing what 3D performance looks like without any restrictions using the MSI GeForce RTX 5090 Supreme. As with all of our CPU testing, I run all of these tests at their lowest settings at 1080p and 1440p. With GPUs like the RTX 5090, we're quite CPU bound at both 1080p and 1440p. We're not testing the GPU here, guys. This is purely about CPU performance. These settings, to be honest, are pretty unrealistic for real-world gaming, but for the purposes of not restricting the CPU and letting it fly, this is just how you do it. Let's start it off with Counter-Strike 2. There's a really good repeatable benchmark in the Steam Workshop that we use for all of our Counter-Strike testing, and I'll link below if you want to give that a try on your own hardware. At 1080p, the 270K Plus stomps the 9700X and the 285K by a significant amount. Not bad for a CPU that is about half the price of the 285K. Not only that, it's about 35% faster than the 285K. At 1440p, we see the same pattern again, with the 270K Plus being around about 30% faster than the 285K on average. And maybe I've just got a really bad 285K, but I tested this multiple times to validate this, and it came out with this result every single time. Moving on to Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 1080p, this is a bit of an older test, but I've tested this so many times, I know exactly what to expect with it. At 1080p, on average, the 270K Plus is around about 11% faster than the 285K, and about 4% faster than AMD's 9700X. Jumping over to 1440p, we're seeing the same thing with the 270K Plus. It's around about 10% faster than the 285K and around about 6% faster than AMD's 9700X. Moving on to Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p, the 270K Plus is around about 16% faster than the 285K and around about 22% faster than the 9700X. Impressive stuff. At 1440p, the 270K Plus is around about 19% faster than the 285K and around about 27% faster than the 9700X. Not bad for a CPU that is around about the same price as the 9700X. Onto Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered at 1080p, we see a bit of a different result here with all three CPUs being relatively close in performance and the 270K Plus being slightly faster than the other two, so the difference here is not too much. At 1440p, the gap is much larger with the 270K Plus being around about 13% faster than the 9700X and around about 23% faster than the 285K. Finally, onto a game that I've personally sunk hundreds of hours into, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is a game that I play, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. At 1080p, we're seeing the 270K Plus be around about 4% slower than the 285K here. Oh, a win for the Intel's top dog. And around about 3% faster than the 9700X on average. At 1440p, the 270K Plus is slower than both the 9700X and the 285K by around about 4 to 5% on average. Speaking of averages, here's a 5-game average comparing all of the titles shown here. At 1080p, the 270K Plus is around about 1% faster than the 9700X and around about 17% faster than the 285K. As for 1440p, the 270K Plus is around about 13% faster than the 9700X and around about 18% faster than the 285K on average. Honestly, guys, that's not a bad overall result, and it's quite a bit better than I anticipated. Okay, here's the deal with the Intel Core Ultra 7 270K Plus. As far as I can tell, this isn't a terrible CPU. The fact that it's faster than the 9700X from AMD in all of our testing for about the same amount of money, and it's faster than Intel's top dog, the 285K, well, it makes the 270K Plus compelling at $299. Well, at least I think it does, because I'm not sure. And why am I unsure? Well, I don't know anything about the 270K Plus other than what I found out by putting it on a motherboard and testing it. And the only other information that I have about this CPU is the fact that I know it exists because I've got one, and the information I could get from Intel's ARC product listing page, including the supposed MSRP of $299. I literally know nothing about this CPU. There's a bit of a story behind it. All of the motherboard vendors except ASUS told us that these new CPUs were coming. All the other motherboard vendors were perplexed that Intel didn't reach out about it once again, and only one of them sent us a CPU so we could test it to make this video about this CPU that I didn't even know existed. For the second year running, Intel PR in Australia cannot do their job. It's as simple as that. But hear me out. Like, they're more interested in working with people who are paid to say good things about their mediocre products. It's just a fact. There seems to be a really big Intel PR problem in Australia. And to be honest, it's very disingenuous from Intel, especially for the consumers here in Australia. Some would call that marketing, but I just call that a click. To catch you up here if you're new, at Computex 2024, I showed the inside of a socket, which just happens to be the socket for all of these CPUs. And it was kind of before Arrow Lake was even announced. Sure, we made a mistake. I can own my mistakes. I know that we made a big mistake from that, but from what I can gather at least, Intel got upset. Mind you, there were hundreds of other people taking photos and videos and doing the exact same thing. And when they asked us to remove it from the video, we cut it out in like 5 minutes of the video going live. We made a joke about it on social media at our own expense, and someone at Intel got butthurt. Now, we've had confirmation of this, but still, when we tried to fix this in a professional way, we got radio silence from Intel. Me talking about this publicly is pretty much the only way I can address this for the second year running, because I guess doing your job at Intel is pretty hard. Now, I'm not saying we're entitled to review samples at all. We've been pretty thankful and always really thankful for everything we can get. And it's really cool to be in the position that we get all of these samples as it is. But what I'm saying is, Intel, you guys need to do better as a whole. The best part is no one's going to watch this video anyway. I hate having to have this kind of tone in a video because it's just not my style. But after 2 years of radio silence from Intel, if I don't speak up, then why would I even make these videos in the first place? They can pretend that we don't exist, but there's one thing that we're really good at, and that is always finding a way to get our hands on products, even if Intel won't send it to us. Now, to be honest, with the 270K plus, I'm in a bit of, let's say I'm between a rock and a hard place with it. While the 270K plus appears to be a competent product for $299 US, I think it's too little too late, because if I know Intel, and I do, this socket and generation will last about 4 to 6 more months before Intel has the realization that their little Arrow Lake learning experience was fun and it's time for them to release something competitive. I doubt anyone on LGA 1851 will upgrade to this series of CPUs. This CPU is for people building new PCs, and right now is a terrible time to build a new PC. And judging by how the PC market is going, you might be renting your compute in the near future. Oh, what is going on?